Okay, David.
Thank you, David.
Okay, hi. First of all, I would like to thank my coaches for a great season. I would like to thank my teammates for being awesome teammates and friends. And I'd like to thank my sister for coming for this tournament. But most of all, I would like to thank my parents for lots of driving and playing my games for countless hours. So thank you. And you just do so much so I can play basketball, and I really appreciate it. So thank you.
All
Everybody knows that we lost David for a good part of the season, and it was a big loss, not just in the sense of what his basketball ability is, but he's a great teammate and a good kid, and he brings a lot to this group. So when he wasn't there, we really missed him not being there. So having him back and having his parents commit to having him back and keeping us up to date with what was going on was really helpful. So David brings a lot to the team, and when he came back, he brought it back with him. So thanks, David.
Good job.
Okay, I'm going to pick a few guys. We're going to go out. Tristan, my number.
So first off, I just want to thank my coaches and my parents and my teammates for an amazing opportunity to come out here and do this, because it means a lot to me. And I really want to thank my coaches too, because I feel like I've really come along as a basketball player, and it's just been amazing for me to get this opportunity. But like, it just means a lot to me that my parents would take the time out of their day and out of their lives to let me play basketball, because it takes a lot of time to drive me where I need to go and for practices and everything. So it just means a lot that you guys would give me this opportunity that I really love and that I hope to do again. So thank you.
Yes, Tristan's new to the team this year, and he's done a great job for a kid like Tristan to move up to the level of play that he moved up to this year and really compete at a pretty great level, as I've told him a couple of times in the past few practices, is amazing. And I think in part, he loves the game, but he loves the guys he's playing with. And his commitment to them really shows throughout every game, every practice, every tournament. He's one of the hardest workers I've seen come onto the basketball court. So,
There you go,
thanks,
Tristan.
Tristan.
First of all, I'd like to thank my teammates and coaches for having such a great year and doing a great job being teammates and coaches. And then I'd like to thank my parents for taking a lot of time out of their days to drive me to the games and practices. And I'd also like to thank my younger brother Jorge for coming to all my games.
It's true. Edmund's a great kid, as all of these guys are. But you know, there's times we get into pitches and games and stuff, and we do look for Edmund. We can't say we don't. He's the warrior out there that brings it. But he also brings a lot to the team. He's a quiet assassin, but what he brings not just to the court, but also to every practice and his interactions with the guys and stuff. It's really great. And I've had fun getting to know Edmund. So thank you, Edmund.
Down in 2 minutes. Yeah, he wants to say.
Sorry.
Alright, so first I want to thank my coaches for giving me another opportunity this year to play AAU. I want to thank my dad for giving me rides, and Mr. O'Toole and Mr. Smith. And I want to thank my brother and sister for coming to Portland. It means a lot to me. And I just want to thank you guys. It's been really great this season.
Everybody's aware too that we did lose Andrew for a little bit of time, and you know, we were concerned and worried about him, and it's great that he's recovered, and it really showed, you know, the last practice and the tournament this weekend, you know, what he brings to the, you know, to the team in that sense. But, you know, one thing that strikes me with Andrew is he's just such a polite kid. There's not a time that passes, whether it's practice or whatever, he makes it a point to come over and say, thank you. You know, and his enjoyment, I watch his interactions, he's a great kid, so thanks, Andrew.
Okay, so I would like to thank the parents from Acton for driving me to and from the practices. So Mrs. Latham, my own parents, and New York's and the Finkelmans who aren't here right now. And then I would also like to thank my coaches for coaching me throughout the season and telling me how to be a better player. And I would also like to thank all of my teammates for a wonderful season.
James really brings a whole bunch of stuff to the team that, you know, from the basketball standpoint, we definitely need is, you know, strength and willingness to always step up when that challenge is there. But he's also a kid that, you know, I watch him sometime, you know, they don't realize sometimes that I'm watching him in practice. I pretend that I'm not looking at him. I'm not watching him. And he's always, you know, leading the guys into something that that's appropriate, but, you know, getting them really jazzed up and ready for each practice. And it's always fun to see James in the background and what he does. So thanks, James. Good job.
I would like to thank my parents for taking time out of their lives to help me pursue what I want to do in life and help me to get to where I want to be. And I'd also like to thank my coaches for trying their hardest to help me improve and become a better player. And I'd also like to thank my teammates for making this such a great season.
Zach brings a whole bunch to the team as well. They're so anxious to get up here. Zach brings a lot to the team in a quiet way. You know, he's not the guy that's out there that's boisterous and, you know, there's a whole lot, but his actions really speak loudly. And that, again, is not just on the basketball court, but actually in his interactions and his friendships with each member of this team. So thank you, Zach.
All right. Tell me
First of all, I want to thank my teammates and coaches for another great season of AAU basketball. And I want to thank my mom and my dad because almost every week my dad comes up and drives me to these tournaments and he lets me know what I'm doing wrong.
What kind of word is that, Don?
It's constructive criticism. And I really appreciate criticism. And my mom, some days, me, my brother, and my sister all practices on the same day. And she somehow manages to get all of us to the same place at almost the same time. So thanks.
Another guy that brings so much to the team, and, you know, to have him there, and just with his, you know, this speech is words of wisdom, but he does, and again, you know, he's one in the background sometime that doesn't have a whole lot to say, you know, up front, but again, he's a, you know, kid that his actions speak really loudly, and it's been great having him on the team as well. Good job.
All right.
I just want to thank my mom and dad for being there for me after the games and for taking me to all the games, which were in Maine too, which is a long drive. And I want to thank all my coaches for making me better both on and off the court. And I think for a great season. And I want to thank my teammates for always being there for me.
Good job. I'm watching Lucas develop this year. Really, he's worked really hard to become a much better player. And you can see it in each game. You know, today in one of the games that they played in, he was really a force on the boards, getting down there and really trying to make a difference. But also, you know, he adds a whole different touch as well. outside of the basketball perspective. And, you know, after that, I just wanted to reflect when these guys have done a little bit on that. So good job, Lucas.
First of all, I'd like to thank the coaches for accepting me this year, because if they hadn't accepted me, I wouldn't be on this team right now. And they've helped me a lot to improve my skills this year. And I'd also like to thank my teammates. I'd also like to thank my teammates for also accepting me, because if they hadn't accepted me, I'd probably be all alone, probably just sitting in the corner. But most importantly, I'd like to thank my parents for driving me here and to practices and games, and it really means a lot to me for letting me play basketball.
We're on. I'm so anxious. You guys want to do a second round after this? Carter's one of the fastest guys I know on this planet. I'll tell you, the way he gets up and down that court is pretty amazing. You know, his skill level has really, really jumped, you know, by far over the past year. You know, the way he sees the court, which is one of the most important things that you could do as a basketball player, is to be able to see everything that's going on. He's got eyes behind his head, because some of the passes he makes, I'm probably the only other guy that can do that. So he's really added so much to the team. And he's a great kid, and you know, I know my son Max thinks the world of him too. So good job, Carter.
All right, Carter.
Alright, so first off, I'd like to thank my parents for taking me all my games and practices and putting me in their own time, and bringing me to become a better basketball player, so I'd like to thank them for that. Second off, so I'd like to thank both of my coaches for helping me improve this season and become a better basketball player, and I'd like to thank my teammates for all their hard work this season and becoming a better team.
Hunter is one of the hardest working kids that we have on the team. You know, he's not the one that goes out there and bundles in the rebounds or scores all the points, but you see when he's out on that court, he's working as hard as he can. And you can see his teammates today were rooting for him to get one of those baskets in. He had some good clean shots at it, but they just wouldn't fall. They would fall for a lot of our teams today, but he was really a hard worker. He's a pleasure to have on the team. So good job, Hunter.
So first of all, I want to thank my team for an awesome and really fun season, and I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. I'd like to thank my coaches and my dad and my brother for being just teaching me all that I could ask for, and they encouraged me through all the struggles and teach me everything that I know. And I like to also lastly thank my mom and my sister for who put up with all the long drives and the waiting around for each game to start, and she deals with the stress of having the whole family split up for the whole of every single weekend, because she knows how much I love being with and playing with this team. So thanks, Mom.
Aaron Will.
I've known Will, of course, probably longer than, well, I have known him longer than, you know, most of the guys in here, so, you know, we go back quite a ways, but, you know, Will brings the special knack to the team of really getting things settled down and making sure that they're organized when we're coming up and down the court. His humor that he brings to all our practices and our waits in between games is always appreciated, and you know, Will's a great friend, and it's good to have him around. And you know, I'm glad I've had the opportunity to be a part of his life. So good job, Will. You know, today we didn't, these guys did, they had a great day today. They went 1-1, you can't ask for more than that. They played the first game, they did a great job. You know, let's give them a round of applause for They're our only Swoosh team today that sort of came out on the good side of the scoreboard, and that's okay. That happens sometimes, but you know, with each team, you watch the development, and you watch how much better they're getting with each tournament. You know, and that's always the tough thing about when it comes to the end of the season, because you're there and you go, oh, it's hard to stop now, because I got to start next year again. We're going to start from the beginning, and that's okay. That's okay, you know, because now they've got the foundation. Some of these guys have 2 foundations now, so we're going to keep on moving forward and you know, building those foundations until they're at that level where, you know, we don't have to worry about that. You know, with the older group I have, and I know I bring them up here and there with you guys, and it's the reason I do that is because it's a group of kids that I started with. When they were younger than them, a lot of those kids. They were in what, Jack? 4th grade maybe?
When we started out?
They started out,
Yeah.
and the majority of these kids have been together since 4th grade, you know, playing. And, you know, there were a couple of kids on that team. They're all varsity high school players now. There's a couple of the kids that are on the team. When we started out, 2 of them that are starters. One, I couldn't get off the bench to get into the game when he started. He was too petrified to get in the game. He'd come to practice, work hard. Come on, Jack, it's time to go in. It's your turn. No, that's good. If you don't go in, you know, we're going to get a technical foul, and we're going to end up in all kinds of trouble. You've got to go in. You know, now this guy's to the point where he's just unstoppable. He's a force to be reckoned with. You know, a great team player. You know, we love him. But that's the you know, that's the hope as we're going through this. It's not just about the basketball. You know, I think one of the things we get caught up in today with youth sports is wins and losses, okay? And you guys probably have witnessed some of the nonsense that goes on at some of the games that we're competing in. And that's not from the kids, that's from the adults, that's from the coaches, and sometimes the referees. And we forget about really what this is all about. And, you know, my thoughts when, you know, I got involved and started doing this was that I didn't want to be a part of that sort of nonsense. So I had to question myself for a while to think about whether or not I wanted to do this. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, my kids wanted to be involved, so I didn't have a choice. So I figured, well, if I'm going to get involved in this, then, you know, I might as well do it from the perspective that I believe it should be done. And my feeling is that there's kids out there, we could have kids that want to be on our team that are, you know, super players, but they're not coachable. Their parents aren't cooperative. You know, it's not the kind of person that I want on my team. I'd rather have a bunch of kids that are going to enjoy playing, that like each other, that are respectful, and you really can get somewhere with. And that's the way I look at it. And if you can do that and get somewhere and you see what they've done tonight, then you know you have succeeded in what you've done. So, you know, for this group of kids and what they've done this year, I'm really proud of them. And to think about them getting up here and doing that, it's not easy. So give them another round of applause. From their perspective, I just want to pass out a little memento to all of them. Okay, just go through this, and Coach Matt here is going to add something as I'm calling out each guy to come up and grab this, okay? So let's start out with
right, so some of these nicknames may have changed from last year a little bit, but I tried to keep most of them the same as far as I can remember. So this first one that's coming up, we call him Larry Bird Latham. He's got eyes in the back of his head. He's a great passer, and he's a great outside shooter, just like the man Larry Bird. And I also know Larry Bird was your favorite player, right?
Well,
From that era, right?
From that
Yesteryear. Come on up, Larry. Okay, the next guy that's coming up, we call him the distributor. That's Will, because he's a really good passer. He's always looking. He's a very unselfish player. He's always looking for the open man. Doesn't care how many points he scores. Cares more about assists than points. That's pretty rare this day and age. So come on up, Will.
Spiffy.
All right, this next guy needs no introduction. It's Silky.
Silky smooth.
Silky smooth on the court. Very tough to stop in the open court, and we rely on him a lot to do that. So, good job, Evan. Okay, this next nickname is for one of our new players. Very easy to come up with this nickname. Tristan Downtown Shapiro. Tristan is really shooting the ball well, as you guys all saw today. He's come a long way this season. He's doing a great job, and we love him taking those downtown shots because they usually go in. So, all right, good job, Tristan. Good job. Yep. Okay. All right. The next one we're going to bring up is, I think this one's pretty self-explanatory too. This is James Wrecking Ball Dyer. He's a force underneath. He's their big man. He goes at it under there and battles with anybody that you put in front of him. So, and he does some damage under there. So, good job, James. Good job.
Number 30.
Okay. All right, the next guy is, he's got this signature move, and it works really well, okay? And he uses it a lot, and he scores a lot of baskets for us because of that. Comes off the bench and really gives us a boost. Connor Smith does. We call him Head Fake Smith. All right, this next guy, this was his nickname last year too. I'm staying with it because it works. And if you guys saw that second game today, he played really good defense. He grabbed a lot of rebounds. It's quietly, you know, it's not all in bright lights and glitter, but he gets the job done, especially on defense. And if you watch him, his arms and hands are always going. Okay, I'm always yelling, "Get your hands up." This guy's hands are up. Okay, call him the Maniac. Hunter. Yeah! This next one, I think hopefully your parents might understand this one. This one is Cool Hand Lucas. Cool Hand Lucas. He's got a cool hand under pressure. There you go. Lucas is a big, tall kid, but I like him at the 3 spot because he can handle the ball, he can pass the ball, he doesn't panic under pressure, and he's real good at finding that open man. But today, when we needed him to be a 4 or a 5, he played all 3 positions today. He was under there battling for rebounds. He does a good job at all 3 spots, so good job, Lucas. The next one's pretty self-explanatory. I changed it up a bit from last year's nickname. We're just going to call him the Flash. Come on up, Carter. Carter's come a long way, as Henry said. He's really doing well out there. He gets up and down the court faster than anybody I've seen. And, you know, he's added a whole new dimension to his game this year. He's always been good at getting up and down the court, but, and he could score. But this year he's really seeing the court better, as Coach said, and he's finding that open man. Okay, and that makes us much more dangerous. So, good job.
Good job, Carter.
This next guy, so this was I thought this was a pretty easy nickname for me to choose. I'm not quite sure. I think it was this or something similar to this last year, but this is for Andrew. Call him Andrew, the working man gardener.
Yeah, Andrew.
Andrew knows how to go to work. I'll tell you, he's not a real big kid, he's not a real tall kid, but I have no problem putting him at the 3, the 4, or even the 5 in a pinch because he's great at boxing out, he's great at getting rebounds, he gets to the hoop, he scores, he passes, so good job, Andrew. Come on up.
Yay, Andrew.
And then this one's another one that I think is pretty self-explanatory, the freight train. Zach O'Toole. There's another guy that when he gets ahead of steam, it's really tough to stop him. He just goes 100 miles an hour. I wouldn't want to get in his way. And he's a really strong kid under those boards. He's not the tallest kid out there, but he knows how to move bodies around and get rebounds. And he does a really good job under there. Good job, Zach. I think that's everybody. That's it, right? Cool. Just one other comment, I guess, while I'm standing here. So, one thing that I noticed, Coach is always talking about, you know, on and off the court. So, you know, last night we were here and I was sitting in the pool area, a couple other parents, and we were just commenting. And I think it was one parent from the team Swoosh White, and some of the kids were in the pool. There's some from the white team, some from the black team, and even within those teams, there's kids from Acton, Lunenburg, and Leominster, and all these different towns. And you know, if they weren't here on this team, they wouldn't have met. But the thing that's really cool is just you watch them interact. It seems like they spend the whole year together, you know, and they really get along great. It's a great group of kids. It's a great group of parents. So we're lucky because you don't find that everywhere on AAU teams or really any other team. So, so I think that's just a kind of a special thing, and you know, it's fun to watch. So, good job, guys. Good season.
And just the last thing again is to really, you know, the kids did it in their way, but you know, from my perspective, I really want to thank each and every one of you for your support and cooperation throughout the season, the numerous emails that I send out. You know, I know I must flood up your phones and all this and that stuff. I hope it's helpful, not harmful in that regards, but it really, I appreciate all of your support. You've got a great bunch of kids here, and it really shows, you know, what you guys do as parents. So, guys, give it up one more time for your parents. And then just, you know, just in closing, you know, I want to thank my buddy, Coach Matt. We've been doing this stuff for a long time. We're not just talking about the AAU stuff, but we go back to years ago when we started rec, when, you know, these guys were little, Will, first grade and stuff. So it's been many years. We watched each other grow gray hairs, and we've enjoyed it. So thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
All right, Matt.
We're lucky in a couple ways because Coach here, number one, I don't know any other AAU programs that have somebody like a Henry who puts this much time and who put this much time and effort into the team. You know, Henry's on the phone with tournament coordinator. I have the easiest job. I just show up and coach. I don't know anything. I just show up. You know, Henry tells me you're over here today. Okay, I go over here. I don't have to think about it. Henry does all of the legwork. So, and there's that. But you know, he's always on the phone with these coordinators. He knows them all by name. He's trying to get us blocks of time close together. He's trying to get us the right time of day, the right tournaments, all that stuff. Very few people put in that kind of time. And, you know, I don't know if everybody knows this. I say it every year and embarrass him, but Henry played Division I basketball. So he played for BU. This guy knows basketball better than anybody I know, and I've learned everything I know about it from him pretty much. So we're very lucky. He loves these kids, as do I, but you know, he really devotes himself